What in the world should the Red Sox do with Corey Kluber? Well, Alex Cora kind of gave us an answer after Sunday's 7-0 loss to the Padres.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday and welcome to the Locked On Red Sox podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Willand. And yes, my lower third, if you are watching on YouTube, does say Lauren Campbell. I'll get into that in just 1 minute. But this is our final episode of Locked On Red Sox together. I begin my new position with Mass Live, and we're going to talk about what went wrong in the Boston Red Sox 7-0 loss to the Padres. Spoiler alert, bad pitching, and the offense was stone cold. And what's the next step for Corey Kluber, despite Alex Cora already confirming that he will make his next start, despite the ugly outing on Sunday. But before we start this episode, I just wanted to start by expressing my thanks to all of you. As you know, today is my final episode of the Locked On Red Sox podcast. I begin a new adventure with Mass Live today, and it's never easy to say goodbye to a job that you truly love. And I was so lucky to do this for the last 2 years with you. So to the everydayers and every single listener, whether you're here every day, whether you're here once a week, whether this is your first time, I am not here without you. Big shout out to my mom's best friend, Lynn. I know that she watches and listens to the podcast. So big shout out to her. My husband, Derek, for just being a really supportive husband and just great partner in life. And I'm so grateful to have him by my side and constantly encouraging me to just be the best version of me. And everyone here at Locked On, Jeff, our channel manager, Javier from Locked On Padres, Stace from Locked On Yankees, the guys from Locked On Astros. I could go on and on and on, but everyone here at Locked On, and not just Locked On MLB, but the entire Locked On channel are incredible people. They truly love what they do. And to Jake and Jason, who are amazing co-hosts. And it's bittersweet to say goodbye or to say see you later. And I'm really excited for the next step. And what I'm going to stress to you is just please stay with us. Please continue to make Locked On Red Sox your first listen of every day. And the show will be in good hands. I can promise you that. And it's just going to go up from here. So I'm very excited for the future of Locked On, even though I'm saying goodbye. But just wanted to start off by expressing my thanks because I know that I'm not here without you. And I'm so grateful to be able to cover this team that I've loved for pretty much my entire life, and that I do cover professionally, both talking and in writing. So even though this is our last few minutes, 30 minutes together, we're going to make them count. So I wish I was able to start this episode with something happier or some better news, but Kluber, man, what is going on with Corey Kluber? What has happened to Corey Kluber? He's obviously not the pitcher that he was in his prime, but he just doesn't even look competitive out there. And Sunday was a huge test for him, especially with Garrett Whitlock rejoining the rotation. And it was confirmed that he will start next weekend as well. He'll start Saturday for the Boston Red Sox. He will go against the Arizona Diamondbacks. So I'm really excited to see what Garrett Whitlock can do. But you would think with Whitlock coming back, with Pivetta already moved to the bullpen, so you know that your butt could be on the line, you'd think you'd see a little bit more fire from Kluber, I guess. He lasted just 2 1/3 innings. And you look at Kluber's stat line, you see 1 earned run, and you're like, oh, well, that's not that bad, right? But he did make an error, and that turned into more runs scored. And his night was over early after those 4 unearned runs. So altogether, he gave up 5 runs, 1 of them earned, 4 unearned. He also walked 3. And this stat from the Boston Globe's Pete Abe really stuck out to me. He has put 30 runners on base in his last 16 1/3 innings pitched. Yikes. Yuck. You can't do that. You cannot do that as a pitcher, not just for the Boston Red Sox, but as a Major League Baseball pitcher. You cannot be just giving out free passes and having men get on base at a clip like that, because that is very concerning. So where do the Red Sox go from here? Well, Alex Cora confirmed after Sunday's game that he indeed will make the next start against Arizona. He said his command was off, which obviously, if you were watching the game, you obviously knew that his command was very much off. Kluber was a strike away from getting out of a bases loaded jam and only allowing 1 run. And I was like, oh, he's going to do it. This is where he's going to turn it on. But I was very wrong. The Padres just jumped all over him, took advantage of that, went the complete opposite way of Kluber getting out of that jam. And at the end of the day, if he just pitched better, he wouldn't have been in that jam, right? So my thoughts, because Cora already confirmed that he would be starting next weekend. So my thoughts are that Alex Cora is just taking the same approach that he did with Nick Pivetta. So he confirmed that Pivetta was going to start again. He did, and then immediately was moved to the bullpen after that start. So I'm thinking that's what Cora is going to do with Kluber, unless Kluber comes out and just absolutely blows everyone's socks off, which I'm not feeling too confident about right now. So you'll see a 6-man rotation for this week, and then not really sure what's going to happen after next weekend. And maybe Kluber can bounce back. Like I said, I'm not confident in that. I think we've seen enough from him since the start of the season that we know he's just not going to be able to do enough for this rotation. Is he going to do enough for this bullpen? I don't know. But if he can't bounce back and he has another start like Sunday, then the Red Sox are going to have a difficult decision to make. I see a lot of people calling for him to be DFA'd, and I 100% understand your frustration with him, but he's signed for like $10 million. I don't know if they're going to DFA him, but 9 starts with the Red Sox, 6.26 ERA, just isn't going to cut it. So Kluber, he just did not look competitive out there at all. The walks, you can't be giving up walk after walk after walk. It's just unacceptable, and he's got to get that command under control. And I don't know if he's able to, or if he's going to be able to. I think that's the thing here, is that he hasn't just pitched, 2 or 3 games and you're like, oh, okay, he's just shaking off the rust. Like, no, Chris Sale had a kind of a rocky start to the season, and he has shaken off that rust. And Corey Kluber just cannot get into a groove. So I don't know if he's just washed up. I don't know if he just can't pitch here. I don't know what it is, but I think the Red Sox have a big problem on their hands with Corey Kluber. And I don't know if moving him to the bullpen is going to fix anything, because he's letting these runs and he's making these errors early in the game. It's not like, like say Tanner Houck, when he gets through the rotation the first time really, really good, really strong, and the second time through the lineup, it's not that great. So it's nothing like that. It's just complete struggles from batter 1 to batter 9. And I don't know where the Red Sox go from here. But we're going to continue talking about the pitching, because we did see Nick Pivetta come out of the bullpen, and we have to talk about this offense just completely getting stonewalled by the Padres pitching. We'll do that in our second segment of the Locked On Red Sox podcast after I tell you about eBay, because for a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is the perfect fit. I think I had this ad read after Nick Pivetta's bad start, and now we're having it after Corey Kluber's start. I'm sensing a pattern here. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure that every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know that that part will fit, or your money back, because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Sticking with the pitching here, we saw Nick Pivetta come out of the bullpen. And honestly, I just think the Padres finally caught the break they were looking for. Their bats woke up. They were just all over Kluber. They were all over absolutely everything. Were able to score runs, which the Red Sox could not do on Sunday. And they got on the board quickly and essentially put this game out of reach for the Red Sox early and often. Plus, Michael Wacha turned in another strong start for San Diego with 6 scoreless innings. Why can't the Red Sox get guys like him? But Pivetta came in after Richard Blyer pitched an inning and a third. He gave up an earned run and a hit. And then Pivetta came in, tossed 2 1/3 innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run. He did strike out 3. So could have been better, could have been worse. But maybe I'm being selfish, but I definitely wanted to see more from Pivetta, especially when he came in. I was of the belief that he was going to finish this game. I was like, all right, here it is. Here's his long relief role. The game at this point, are the Red Sox going to be able to come back with the way they've been playing? I don't know. So I figured he would finish the game, gave the relievers some extra rest before they head to the series against the Angels. That obviously didn't happen. So despite the 3 strikeouts, I still think you wanted to see more of that 1 earned run you would love to just erase, even though in a game like this, it didn't matter. Whether it was 1 run or 2 runs or 6 runs, it wouldn't have mattered because the Red Sox didn't score at all. But after Pivetta left the game, then Joely Rodriguez came in and was a bright spot. He had 2 strikeouts over an inning of work, and then Justin Garza threw an inning with a strikeout. So really it was just Kluber that was the biggest issue. Richard Blyer also didn't look the best, but at some point the Padres were going to figure out the Red Sox pitching. And I mentioned to Javier on Friday's episode with the crossover with Locked On Padres that it could be Sunday because it is Corey Kluber pitching and he's just really struggled. And the Padres did exactly what I thought they were going to do, and that was take advantage of him. But the offense also did absolutely nothing in this game, quite literally. And despite out hitting San Diego 7-6, they could not score for the life of them. They left 8 men on base. They were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. So where do they go from here? Well, you just regroup, right? It's time to regroup, get back on track. You have a series against the Angels beginning Monday night, 9:38 first pitch for those of us on the East Coast, but it's still a positive thing that the Red Sox won the series. I think that there's a lot of good to still take away from this series as a whole. I think obviously Chris Sale looked good. James Paxton, another strong start from him. Kenley Jansen got another save despite giving us a little bit of anxiety when he was on the mound. Kike Hernandez had some nice plays over the weekend at shortstop. So you're taking all the good with the bad. And then there was Emmanuel Valdez, who was the star of the show on Saturday. He was removed from the game on Sunday, but Alex Cora did say that he believes he'll be good to go for Monday. So that is good news on him because that's just somebody you want in your lineup with the spark that he's been able to provide of late. So all good things must come to an end, right? Like that's the winning streak's over, but now it's just time for the Red Sox to start a new one, start this series against the Angels on a high note and just get back to winning. I think that we've seen that they know how to win, and we've seen that they can win when the pitching's good and the hitting's bad and vice versa. But both really need to be on the same page. I mean, I will say for the rest of this road trip, but for the rest of the season, I think that's obvious, but Sunday was just the throwaway game. But I'm glad for the Padres that their losing streak is over, that they seem to figure it out. But now the Red Sox can get out of San Diego and now on to the Angels, where they begin a set with them as their road trip continues. We have one more segment here on the Locked On Red Sox podcast. We're going to end this show how we always do for the final time. It will be the mental health minute. But first, I'm going to tell you about Sorare, which is a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace that transforms fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from every single MLB team. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, Sorare managers truly own their fantasy experience. They collect, they buy, they sell, and they compete with player cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. Win or lose, you still own your cards. Plus, there's absolutely no cost to play. So that's a win-win right there. Plus, the more you win, the more you advance, collecting increasingly powerful cards along the way and accessing next-level competitions and rewards. Plus, Sorare has partnered with Juan Soto and Julio Rodriguez as their brand ambassadors, and they will interact with the Sorare community at different MLB events throughout the season. So if this is something that piques your interest, head to Sorare.com/lockedon. That's spelled SORARE.com to draft your team of free player cards and set your lineup and start competing today to win epic rewards. Again, that's Sorare.com/lockedon to start playing today. So in the beginning of the show, and if you're watching on YouTube, you do see that my lower third says Lauren Campbell, and I've been going by Lauren Willand for the last few months since I got married. But I've decided to return to my maiden name professionally just because that's been my byline for the last 8+ years. And when I switched my byline, I almost felt like I was confusing people and be like, oh, where can I find your stuff now? So I'm just keeping it all Lauren Campbell, still personally Lauren Willand, but professionally I will be going back to Lauren Campbell. It has been such a pleasure, such an honor, such a privilege to cover this team with you, to interact with so many of our commenters, our listeners, to meet some of you along the way. I'm not going far. I'll still be on Twitter, so connect with me on Twitter. I always love to talk baseball, hockey. I will gladly talk about the Bruins with you. Also, always happy to talk baseball, basketball, Patriots, Celtics, everything. I'm always down to talk all sports with anyone, any time of the day. I am so grateful that I was able to have this platform to talk about the Red Sox for the last 2 years. It's been a blast. I say it's been fun a lot, but it is so true. I've just had so much fun getting on here every day. And as much as the Red Sox have made us mad, they've also made us very happy. It's been really fun to cover ups and downs the lockout, the 2021 ALCS, how much fun that team was, to a very ugly and very confusing 2022 season with the trade deadline. And then this past offseason, that was very confusing too. And there wasn't much of a direction of this team, or so it felt. And the Red Sox are above 500. They look like they want to compete for a wild card spot. And this is a fun division. The AL East has always been fun, but like I said in the beginning of the show, I know I'm leaving, but please stick with Locked On Red Sox. It's in good hands. Please continue to make it your first listen. I don't know how much more I can say just about how much fun I've had, how incredibly blessed I am and grateful I am for this opportunity to come my way. I hope I did okay at the end of the day, because I know that I did my best every single show. Even on my low days, I still brought every ounce that I had, because this team, as much as sometimes it can drive me crazy, it still has been such a constant in my life for over 30 years. So I'm happy that I was able to share the grievances with you and air out any frustrations that any of us had. But I was also happy to share in the good moments with this team, share some differing opinions, and I'm excited to see where this show goes from here and where the Red Sox go from here. So catch me on masslive.com, writing about the Red Sox, writing about the Bruins, writing about everything in between. Catch me on Twitter at Lauren, 3 laws, Lauren with 4 R's. That will never change, so you don't have to worry about that. Once again, thank you so much for making Locked On Red Sox your first listen of every day, especially for the last 2 years with me as your host. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Locked On Red Sox right here on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast is where you can find us. Check out the other shows across the Locked On Network, Locked On Angels, Locked On Yankees, Locked On Diamondbacks. Everyone does such a great job here bringing you baseball content Monday through Friday, and I'm going to miss them all so very much. So for the final time, we're going to end this show how we always do. Keep the faith and let's go Red Sox. You all have been so wonderful to me. I'm going to miss you all. I will catch you on the flip side. Let's hope the Red Sox keep playing, not like how they did Sunday, but how they did Friday and Saturday for the remainder of the season. Thank you once again for an incredible 2 years, and I will see you all very soon.